Good morning, students. Today I am going to continue chapter number 4, Agriculture from Geography. And today's topics are technological and institutional reforms. Number 2 is contribution of agriculture to the national economy. And topic number 3 is impact of globalization on agriculture. So students, as I told you in my previous explanation about the importance of agriculture activity in India. So students, as you know very well that agriculture has been practiced in India for thousands of years to complete their needs and requirement and livelihood also. So students, near about 60% population of India is still dependent upon agriculture activity. So students, just after the independence of India, our government of India started many programs like technological and institutional only to develop agriculture activity and provide employment to the people. Students, as you know very well that in India, agriculture is a primary activity and the nature of Indian monsoon is erratic in nature. That's why to complete the needs and requirement of agriculture activity, Government of India has emphasized to provide regular and proper sources of irrigation and also fertile soil to the people, because irrigation and fertile soil both are very important for the growth of any kind of crop. So students, to maintain the natural fertility of soil and provide water for irrigation in the fields, Government of India started many programs just after the independence, because growing population needs some serious technical and institutional reforms. So students, in this series, collectivization and consolidation of holdings and abolition of zamindari were given priority to bring about institutional reforms in the country after independence. And students, land reform was the main focus of our Indian first 5-year plan. And students, you know very well that the right of inheritance had already led to fragmentation of land holdings. That's why it is necessary to consolidate the land holdings, and consolidation of land holdings done by the government just after independence. Students, as you know very well that whatever property given by ancestors to their next generation, that all divided among their sons, and in future again that property or part of land is divided. That's why the agriculture field started small and small. So students, our government of India enacted many laws and plans, but they were all lacking or lukewarm. So after some years later, again, the government of India introduced agriculture reforms to improve Indian agriculture in the 1960s and 1970s. All right, and that was the Green Revolution, which was based on the artificial insecticide, pesticides, fertilizers, new tools and machineries, and also high yielding varieties of seeds. Okay, after that, second one was White Revolution, which is also known as Operation Flood. It means students to control the flood, because during the time of flood water devastated the important agriculture field. That's why government of India started to construct dam on the rivers which were flooded every year. And students, you know very well that the construction of dams are very important, because dams can complete many kind of needs and requirement in a one time, like it can control flood water, and also to provide water for the irrigation in the agriculture field, and also for the generation of hydroelectricity. All right, students. So students, these two were some of the important strategies initiated to improve the Indian agriculture. But students, these two programs are concentrated in India only in few and selected areas. So again, in the 1980s and 1990s, a comprehensive land development program was initiated, which included both institutional and technical reforms, like provision for crop insurance against drought, flood, cyclone, fire, and disease, and also establishment of Grameen Bank, cooperative societies, and banks for providing loan facilities to the farmers at lower rates of interest were some important steps in this direction. Okay, after that, again sometime later, Kisan Credit Card, KCC, and Personal Accident Insurance Scheme, PACE, are some other schemes introduced by the government of India only for the benefit of the farmers. And also special weather bulletins and agriculture programs for farmers were introduced on the radio and television. All right, and the government also announces minimum support price for important crops to check the exploitation of farmers by speculators and middlemen. Understood? So students, these were the important steps which were taken by the government only for the development of agriculture and to provide employment and livelihood to all the people and farmers of India. And in this series, I am going to read a story in front of you related to Bhudan and Gramdan. So students, Mahatma Gandhi declared Vinoba Bhave as his spiritual higher, and he also participated in Satyagraha as one of the foremost Satyagrahis, and he was one of the votaries of Gandhi's concept of Gram Swarajya. So students, after the Gandhiji's martyrdom, Vinoba Bhave undertook Padyatra to spread Gandhiji's message and ideology and covered almost the entire country. So students, once when he was delivering a lecture at Pochampalli in Andhra Pradesh, some poor landless villagers demanded some part of land for their economic well-being. So students, that time Vinoba Bhave could not promise it to them immediately, but assured them to talk the government of India regarding provision of land for them if they undertook cooperative farming. So students, that time suddenly Sri Ramchandra Reddy stood up and offered 80 acres of land to be distributed among 80 landless villages. So students, this act was known as Bhudan. And after some time later, when he traveled and introduced his ideas widely all over India, some zamindars and owners of many villages offered their land to distribute some villagers or landless farmers. So students, this act was known as Gramdan. Alright. After that, many landowners choose to provide some part of their land to the poor farmers only due to the fear of Land Ceiling Act. Okay. So students, this act in Indian history is known as Bhudan, Gramdan, and this movement initiated by Vinoba Bhave is also known as the Bloodless Revolution. Alright students, understood? Okay. After that, your next topic is contribution of agriculture to the national economy. So students, as you know very well that agriculture in India is the backbone of the Indian economy. So its share in the gross domestic product or GDP has registered declining its trend from 1951 onwards, and its share in providing employment and livelihood to the population continues to be as high as 63% in 2001. Understood? But students, the declining share of agriculture in the GDP is a very serious matter concern, because any decline and stagnation in agriculture will lead to decline in other spheres of the economy and also responsible for the slow economic development. Alright. That's why after some time later, our government of India has taken again one very important step to modernize and develop agriculture. For example, establishment of Indian Council of Agriculture Research ICAR and agricultural universities, veterinary services and animal breeding centers, development of horticulture, research and development in the field of meteorology and weather forecast, etc., were given priority for improving Indian agriculture. Okay. So students, in this series, government also emphasis to improve the rural infrastructure, which was very essential for the development of any activity or agriculture activity which is done by the farmers. So students, after some time later, after they taken these steps in 1980 to 91 and from 1992 to 2001 and again from 2002 to 2007 in 10th plan project, GDP started to grow and the growth rate of GDP is increasing over the years. But students, only generating sufficient employment opportunities in the country, it is not enough. The growth rate in agriculture is very important to continue at proper and regular speed. All right. So students, even today, Indian farmers are facing a big challenge from international competition. And our government is going ahead with reduction in the public investment in agriculture sector, particularly in irrigation, power, rural roads, market and mechanization. And students, subsidy on fertilizers is decreased, leading to increase in the cost of production. And reduction in import duties on agriculture products have proved detrimental to agriculture in the country. And Indian farmers are withdrawing their investment from agriculture because causing a downfall in the employment in agriculture and they are facing a lot of loss. All right, students. So it is very necessary to increase and modernize and develop Indian agriculture to maintain its continuity and increase the GDP through the agriculture sector. Understood? All right. After that, your next topic is impact of globalization on agriculture. So students, as you know very well that globalization is not a new phenomenon. But students, here I want to clear what is globalization first of all. So students, the meaning of globalization is the process of interaction and integration among people, companies and government worldwide. Globalization has grown due to advances in transportation and communication technology. With the increased global interaction comes the growth of international trade, ideas and culture. All right. So students, as I told you, globalization is not a new phenomenon. It was there at the time of colonization and in the 19th century when European traders came to India. At that time too, Indian spices were exported to different countries of the world. And even farmers of South India were encouraged to grow these crops. Okay? And till today, it is one of the important items of export from India. Students, during the era of British, cotton belts of India attracted the Britishers in India ultimately. And cotton was exported by the Britishers to Britain as a raw material for their important Manchester and Liverpool cotton textile industry. All right. And students, you have already heard about the Champaran movement, which started in 1917 in Bihar. This was started because farmers of that region were forced by the Europeans or Britishers to grow indigo on their land because it was necessary for the textile industries which were located in Britain. So, students, the Indian farmers that time were unable to grow food grains to sustain their families. And after globalization policy, when India adopted, particularly after 1990, the farmers in India have been exposed to new challenges. As you know very well that students, India is a producer of rice, cotton, rubber, tea, coffee, jute and spices. But nowadays our agriculture products are not able to compete with the developed countries. So again one question will arise here, that why? Because of the highly subsidized agriculture in those countries. All right. So students, even today Indian agriculture finds itself at the very difficult stage, and to make agriculture successful and profitable, every farmers of India, like marginal and small, required a proper and regular agriculture policy, because the Green Revolution promised very much, but today's it is under controversies because Green Revolution started by our government only in some states of India, especially in Punjab and Haryana, for the cultivation of wheat. But students, overuse of insecticide, pesticides and fertilizers caused land degradation. All right. And nowadays, due to the technological development, natural seed started to disappear and gene revolution or artificial seeds started to use by the farmers. Okay, which is known as genetic engineering. But students, still organic farming is very good because it is practiced without factory made chemicals such as fertilizers and pesticides, and it does not affect environment in a negative manner also. Okay, so students, on the basis of above example, we can understand the condition of agriculture is not in very good condition even today. That's why some economists think that Indian farmers have a dark or bleak future if they continue growing food grains on the holdings that grow smaller and smaller as the population rises. And students, India's rural population is about 600 million, which depends upon only 250 million hectares of agricultural land. It means if we will take average, so an average of less than half a hectare per person. So now you can understand how half hectare land can complete needs and requirement of the people. So students, now the time is that Indian farmers should diversify their cropping pattern from cereals to high value crops. This will increase incomes and reduce environmental degradation. Okay? Because fruits, medicinal herbs, flowers, vegetable and biodiesel crops like jatofa and jojoba need very less irrigation than rice or sugarcane. And students, you know very well that India has a diverse climatic condition, so farmers can utilize or harness the different condition of climate in all over the India to grow a different kind of high value crops. All right, students. So students, that are some suggestions. If farmers will follow, then they can improve their agriculture condition and economic condition also, and India can be economically developed. All right, students. So students, here your chapter number 4, agriculture, is completed now. Students, listen my lecture very carefully, and if you have any problem, then contact to me. Okay, thank you and have a nice day.